History often paints ancient Rome with a brush of glory and order. Think majestic legions, brilliant senators, and grand architecture. But what if I told you there's a darker, more disturbing side to Roman life? One that has been deliberately scrubbed from our history books. A secret so horrifying, it was considered blasphemous to even speak of. A ritual hidden beneath the veneer of sacred tradition. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the horrifying ancient Roman wedding rituals that history tried to erase. When we imagine a Roman wedding, we might picture a joyous celebration, a union of two families. And on the surface, it was, but behind the public festivities, a hidden ritual was taking place, one that turned the sacred act of marriage into a transaction of power and fear. Roman marriage wasn't just a personal contract, it was a religious event, and this religious aspect held a terrifying secret for the bride, a mandatory premarital purification. This wasn't a simple blessing. After the public ceremony, new brides were not led to their marital homes, but to a secret, underground chamber beneath the temple, often under the supervision of priests. What happened in these chambers was shrouded in secrecy, described not as an act of violence, but as a religious obligation to the gods. For centuries, this was dismissed as a wild rumor, a ghost story from the ancient world. Direct historical accounts are almost non-existent, and for a very good reason. Roman law made it a crime for any woman to speak about this ritual. To do so was considered blasphemy, a crime against the gods and the state, punishable by social ruin or even exile. This legally enforced silence is why our history books are so quiet on the matter. But silence doesn't mean absence of evidence. Archaeologists have uncovered chilling clues beneath temples, like the one dedicated to the goddess Bona Dea. They found underground rooms. Inside were stone platforms, eerily resembling beds, and on the walls, a silent, heartbreaking testament. Hundreds upon hundreds of women's names carved into the stone, each name a ghost, a whisper of a story that was forbidden to be told. She wasn't celebrated as a whistleblower. She was branded a blasphemer and exiled. Her life destroyed to protect the secret. In the buried city of Pompeii, a hidden fresco was discovered, its imagery subtly but powerfully criticizing this so-called tradition. And then there's the graffiti, the ancient equivalent of a protest sign found scrawled on city walls, anonymously questioning the sanctity of these rituals. These were small acts of defiance, flickering flames of rebellion against an oppressive system. Even symbols we thought we understood have a darker meaning. Take the bride's veil, the flammeum. We're often told it was a symbol of modesty and purity, but its true purpose may have been far more practical and grim. They refused to investigate. They declared these rituals a protected Roman tradition, effectively sanctioning the abuse and reinforcing the wall of silence around it. This wasn't about religion. It was about power. It was about the state protecting a system that ensured the subjugation of women. So, if this was a sacred tradition, how did it eventually fade away? The answer, as it often is, comes down to money and power. It was a tool of control, and like many tools of the powerful, it was for sale. For a long time, classical scholars, the very people tasked with interpreting the past, largely ignored or downplayed this evidence. Why? Because it shatters the romanticized image of Rome. It contradicts the narrative of a society built on law, order, and stoic virtue. Acknowledging this ritual means acknowledging that the foundations of Roman society were built on a system of state-sanctioned, religiously justified sexual coercion. It's a deeply uncomfortable truth that complicates the legacy of one of history's greatest empires. Modern analysis, free from the biases of earlier eras, has been able to connect the dots. The archaeological findings, the fragmented accounts of resistance, the legal silencing, and the eventual decline through bribery, it all points to one conclusion. These marriage rituals were not sacred. They were a systematic form of abuse, carried out under the guise of religious authority. The names carved on the walls of those underground chambers are not just names. They are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. They are evidence left by those who knew they could not speak but refused to be completely erased. The story of this horrifying ritual holds a powerful lesson. Abusive systems, no matter how entrenched or protected by tradition, begin to crumble when people stop consenting. They weaken when individuals find the courage to leave a mark, to carve their name on a wall, to whisper a truth that can't be entirely silenced. And hit the notification bell for more stories that have been left in the shadows. See you next time.